Welcome to Dr. P.C. Verma Economist YouTube class. Today we will compare different school of economics to make a way of understanding from classical economics to modern economics. We have seen in previous classes that classical economists, a group of economists, and we may say from Adam Smith, and Adam Smith is the leader of classical economics, and there are 4 pillars of classical economics, and leader was Adam Smith. First pillar of Adam Smith classical economics is Malthus. Thomas Malthus in 1798 developed population theory, and along with that related things, that how the size of population matters. And Adam Smith, economist, was in favor of classical economics that was run under the direction of invisible hands, demand and supply forces considered to be invisible hand. Adam Smith believed in principle of self-interest. Everyone is guided by self-interest. And if everyone is guided by self-interest, collectively there will be good for the society. He has cited example of farmers, bakers, butchers, doctors, engineers. All are doing their work by self-interest. And another thing he pointed out, that the individual hands which are regulating the market. Adam Smith defined economics as the science of wealth. And we all know that even today, wealth creation is discussed in every developed country. Then second pillar was J.B. Say. In classical economics, J.B. Say said that supply creates its own demand. J.B. Say believed in laissez-faire principle, no intervention by the government, and accepted by all classical economists. And there is a perfect competition in the economy, commodity market and factor market, believed in full employment, long-run assumption. And J.B. Say developed Say's law of market in 1803, in which it was discussed that supply creates its own demand. whatever is supplied, whatever is produced, it will go to the market and market will be cleared. There will be no case of overproduction. He has cited example of there may be certain creation of overproduction in one part of the economy, underproduction in one part of the economy. So by exchange, it can be automatically solved, self-regulating. There is no need of any intervention by the government in the economic activity. Say the law of market became popular, and say the law of market, supply creates its own demand, was accepted in all capitalist economy. Now these capitalist economy are developed economy. After Davis said, and another economist, a classical economist named David Ricardo. David Ricardo in 1816 developed many ideas, and that ideas related to rent, principle of taxation, ideas related to tax reform, and he was very popular economist. David Ricardo discussed rent theory, and that is the free gift of nature. And on the basis of differences in fertility of soil, he developed differential theory of rent, which is the basis of giving more importance to the distribution aspect. And the whole economics was given a wrong twist by Karl Marx adopting the ideas of Ricardo, and theory of communism developed. Then J.S. Mill. It is said that J.S. Mill was also in favor of all the ideas developed by classical economists. But it is said that he is considered to be half of his academic career as a classical, and the rest half of is against the classical. But he was one of the four pillars of classical economics. Look on the board. Classical economist. In classical economics, the first point is markets are naturally self-regulating. Self-regulating means supply creates its own demand. There is no need of any regulations. Economy will be developed by itself. Second thing in classical economics is government interference is not necessary. Government interference is not necessary in economic activities. It is the private interest, it is the private investors, it is the private businessman who will do everything. In classical economics, third feature is pointing out that recession is temporary. It will be automatically corrected by aggregate supply and aggregate demand in the economy. And there will be self-correcting, self-regulating economy. Number 4, wages and prices are flexible. All 100 years and more than 100 years they spent on this issue. Classical economists emphasized that wages are flexible. prices are flexible. There is perfect flexibility in the economy in the long run, and therefore they believe that there will be auto correction, auto adjustment, and restoration of the equilibrium in the economy if any deviations from the point of equilibrium. This is the classical economics, and this classical economist was criticized, and then to restore the ideas of classical economists, two major schools decidedly against government intervention. That is monetarism and new classical economics. So classical economics was criticized, but this idea of classical economics, theory of classical economics, was for the two major schools against government intervention, that is monetarist and new classical economics. We all know that under new classical economics there is a development that again role of government intervention were not accepted by them. They ruled out the government intervention in the economy as proposed by Keynesian economists. So after classical economics, there was development of Keynesian economics, and that was the period of 1929-1932, when there was a Great Depression. There was a sharp fall in the GNP, output, employment, income in US economy. 160 lakh people became unemployed, and that has spread to other capitalist economy like UK, in England, Great Britain, England. There was effect of Great Depression, and 30 lakhs people became unemployed. During the period of Great Depression, in Germany, 60 lakh people became unemployed. And this unemployment was due to retrenchment of the workers from the job, because economy dropped down, and there was a recession and then depression in the economy. We all know that in the business fluctuations, if there is downward business fluctuations from the peak, economy will drop from peak. That is the high period of inflation. Dropping from peak is known as disinflation. This is known as disinflation. This is known as recession. If it is not controlled, that disinflation will turn into deflation. Disinflation will turn into deflation. And this deflation going to the trough, lowest point of the cycle, that is known as depression. In the history, Great Depression of 1929-32 is an example of the failure of classical theory of automatic correction. It is the failure of the concept developed by classical economists that there is no intervention of government in economic activity. It is failure of auto-correcting economy. It is a failure of the ideas by the classical economists that there is a self-regulatory method. Recession is temporary. It will be automatically weeded out. Economy will restore to equilibrium through the wage flexibility, through the price flexibility in the product market, in the factor market, and therefore countries should not worry, economy should not worry about the recession. This was conception based upon sale of market, where supply creates its own demand. If there is supply, there will be creation of demand, and there cannot be overproduction in the economy. There cannot be any Great Depression type of events. There may be short type of recession, and that is temporary of character. It will be automatically restored through supply creates its own demand, that is the sale of market. Market will be cleared and the economy will be restored to the equilibrium. This is all automatic, and therefore there is government interference is not required. Principle of laissez-faire was accepted throughout the capitalistic economies of the world, and a role of the government, interference by the government in economic activity were rejected. But that became, that was failed by the US economy in 1929-32. President Roosevelt became conscious of how to remove unemployment, how to remove depression, and he had invited John Maynard Keynes. John Maynard Keynes has written a book, End of Laissez-faire, in 1926. And in 1929, his prediction became true. In 1929, Great Depression starts. And 1932, it was at the peak. So, Keynes was writing a book, The General Theory of Employment, the General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money, this period, and that was published in 1936. But whatever he had written in General Theory, that was being tested before publication of the book in 1934. And Keynesian economics, based upon its experiment in the US economy, that the economy is, Keynesian economics tells us, number one, economy is inherently unstable. Sometimes disequilibrium is more important than the equilibrium, because disequilibrium is reality and equilibrium is the ideal state. So Jenkins said that economy is inherently unstable. Unstable equilibrium, unstable condition in the economy is not sudden. It is inherently imbibed in the economy, capitalist economy. Number two, not self-regulating. Can say that capitalist economy is not to be considered as self-regulating. There may be case when government intervention is necessary, and that is because wages and prices are sticky. Wages and prices are sticky. He rejected the idea of perfect flexibility in wages, in prices, commodity prices, factor prices. He rejected this idea on the basis of rejecting classical long-run assumption. He said, Jenkins said, that we live in the short run. Our problem is of short run, and therefore this long-run assumption is not to be taken into account. Rather, economics should ponder into the short-run assumption. Short-run is the reality, and therefore he rejected the idea of long-term, self-regulating, self-correcting economic conception and principle of laissez-faire. He rejected principle of laissez-faire, and that on that place Keynes suggested to accept a state intervention. And therefore, government intervention is needed. That is the fourth point. Fifth point, the goal of the economy should shift the demand, aggregate demand, to the right, to the aggregate demand right, aggregate demand right, aggregate, it will shift the aggregate demand curve to the right in the short run, and shifting right and shift, that is outward shift, that is increase in aggregate demand. Keynes believed that in the short run, aggregate supply function is constant. In the short run, Keynes suggested that there will be constant aggregate supply, and therefore the main problem is aggregate demand. Keynes suggested that aggregate demand consists of consumption function and investment function. Again, he said that in the short run, consumption function remains constant, and it is investment function which is the most important factor creating the problem of disequilibrium. Keynes said that investment depends upon two factors: marginal efficiency of capital and interest rate. Again, Keynes believes in interest is sticky. As he thought wage is sticky, so he thought interest rate is sticky. So in the short run, interest rate is sticky. In the short run, interest rate is fixed, and therefore the main driver of the economy in the field of production will be marginal efficiency of capital. We all know that marginal efficiency of capital is marginal productivity, like marginal productivity of the capital, rate of return, and the two factors governing marginal efficiency of capital, the prospective yield and cost, supply cost of machine. In any investor will require machine. So what is the supply cost of the machine? And what is the rate of return? Rate of return, if any machine, if any factory life, its machine life is 10 years, then 10 years there is a prospective yield, first year, second year, third year, fourth year. And overall, in the total period, aggregate supply and the total period, there is correction of all efficiency, marginal efficiency of capital. That marginal efficiency of capital is compared with the interest rate. If interest rate is fixed and rigid, but marginal efficiency of capital is greater than interest rate, it will be considered to be a case where there is decision to invest. Keynes thought that marginal efficiency of capital basically depends upon two factors: prospective yield and supply price of the machine. If supply price of machine is fixed, then the main regulator is prospective yield. But again, Keynes says that prospective yield is guided by expectations of profit. That is purely a psychological fact. Psychological facts means all businessmen, all producers, all investors are psychologically thinking about the expectations of profit on the basis of rise and fall of shares in the market, rise and fall of share prices in the market. And therefore, if there is falling share prices, if there is falling share prices in the economy, it will lead to depression, psychological breakdown of the entrepreneur, and they are not going to invest in the economy. And therefore, can say that if there is downward shift in the economy, if there is unemployment in the economy, this is because of the psychological feeling that they are not going to invest, even if the interest rate is very low. And this is called the effect upon the animal spirit of the entrepreneurs in the private sector. This animal spirit is to be influenced by shocks, influenced by the shocks in the economy, and in the economy, this will lead to the change in the atmosphere from depression to so the depression proved there must be a flaw in classical economic theory, and John Maynard Keynes suggested the flaw was very fundamental. The depression proved there could be a disconnect between aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Keynes said that it is not assured that production will create its own demand. Demand is more of a driver of economic equilibrium. So, Keynes rejected Say's law of market classical theory that supply creates its own demand. And Keynes established that aggregate demand is the main driver in the equilibrium in a capitalist economy. According to James Keynes, who was born on 5th June 1883, and he died in this month of April 21st April 1946. So James Keynes says that rejecting the Say's law of market, that supply creates its own demand. He says no, demand creates its own supply. Demand creates its own supply. So he developed demand side economics, and he pointed out that aggregate demand is most important driver in capitalist economy to restore equilibrium. Failure of Say's law of market and the Great Depression proved that there must be a flaw in the classical economic theory, and there must be a disconnect between aggregate demand and aggregate supply. There cannot be automatic corrections in the economy. So James Keynes' theory believed in government intervention, tax, selling of bond, more spending in the economy, and therefore Keynesian economics is a spending economics. A spending economy means pump priming, more and more expenditure, even if deficit bursting through the fiscal deficit, through borrowing from the market, there must be increasing expenditure, aggregate expenditure in the economy. And this will boost up the aggregate demand, and aggregate demand will correct the depression in the short run. Then the third group of economists which developed monetarist economists. Monetarist economics, in monetarist economics, it is to criticize Keynesian approach, and few names I cite here, there are other also. Milton Friedman, who died in 2006. Anna Schwartz died in 2012. Harry Gordon died in 1977. Nicholas Callow, great economist, died in 1986. Mark Bloch died in 2011, Frank Hann, and therefore few names I have quoted, they are uh, the pillars of monetarist economics. Monetarist economics, which was developed by Milton Friedman and others. Number one is money matters. Circulation of money matters. Control of money matters. So money is most important factor. Number two, do not regulate the economy. Milton Friedman said that regulation and more regulation will lead to disequilibrium in the capitalist economy. So liberate it, deregulations, less regulations, no regulations, and this will help in automatic attainment of equilibrium in the economy. Number three is just control inflation. Monetarists exerted its energy to say about the control of inflation. That means amount of money circulation. Government should play important role through central bank to regulate the money supply in the economy and just control inflation. This is the main idea of monetarist economists. Then it is the idea of monetarist economics that low inflation will bring about low unemployment naturally. How could it be possible to link low inflation, low price means higher demand in the market, more demand in the market will lead to the more production will lead to the more employment and therefore unemployment will decrease. So low inflation will bring about low unemployment naturally in the capitalist economy. This is all about the Milton Friedman, Anna Schwartz, Harry Gordon, Nicholas Caldor, a large number of other economists you can see. Then the last one is supply side of the economics. And President Roosevelt was in a problem of 160 lakh unemployed people in the economy and how to provide them job. That was the main concern of American President William Roosevelt. Similarly, President Reagan of USA, he was having the problems in the economy of disequilibrium, and that was considered to be developed by economists like Laffer, Arthur Laffer, Paul Krugman, Kenneth Arrow, Oscar R. Lange, Sargent, and Klein, and many others living economists. They are against demand-side economics. They believe that the solution in the equilibrium, solution to restoration of equilibrium through demand side, through supply side. Keynes was in favor of demand side, and this Reaganomics, economics developed by Reagan and Laffer at that time, Reaganomics supply side. They believe that demand side is not important. It is supply side in the economy which is most important way to restore from disequilibrium to equilibrium, and therefore supply side economics believes in reduction in the taxes, believes in decreasing regulations. They believe in incentive matters. It is just like monetarists said money matters, supply side economics said incentive matters, and incentives should be positive shocks to the market through tax reduction, through decrease in regulations. Number two is create incentive to increase long run aggregate supply. Long run aggregate supply must be increased by creating incentive in the economy. What is incentive? Laffer say that cut the tax rate, increasing the tax collection in the economy, leading to tax buoyancy, tax revenue buoyancy, and that was Laffer's curve developed, Laffer's thesis developed. India also adopted Laffer's curve thesis in 1991 in new industrial policy and new economic reform policy that reduced the tax rate. There will be increase in the tax collection by the government that will lead to the deficiency in tax revenue converts into buoyancy, tax buoyancy condition in the economy. Then number 3, focusing on aggregate demand is pointless. Reagan economics, Laffer's economics, they discarded the focusing attention of the economy towards demand side. They say that focusing on aggregate demand is pointless, and therefore promoting more and more aggregate supply is the answer of disequilibrium in the capitalist economy, which is to be considered as supply side economics. Therefore, what we find out that these are the four types of economics that is known as classical economics, Keynesian economics, monetarist economics, supply side economics. Classical economics, we all considered that based upon the idea of Adam Smith, Thomas Malthus, J.B. Sage law of market, more dominating factor, Ricardian ideas and J.S. Mill concept was taken into consideration. Keynesian economics is most important step in the development of macroeconomics. Keynesian economics is macroeconomics, and classical economics considered microeconomics, and therefore all their arguments were not clear that micro or macro distinction. But Keynes particularly distinguished between microeconomics and macroeconomics, and in macroeconomics he thought that demand, aggregate demand, that is turned to be most important factor in the name of effective demand. Effective demand means aggregate demand function equal to aggregate supply function. Then monetarist economists all opposing the Keynesian approach and pointing out if government want to regulate, government should regulate economy, government should regulate money in the market, in the economy. Low inflation should be targeted, and therefore money matters. And the supply side economics developed during the period of when Reagan was president in the USA. They wanted that the supply side economics is nothing but decreasing taxation, lowering the tax rates and decreasing the regulations, creating incentives for long-run supply, aggregate supply in the economy. And therefore, Arthur Lewis, Laffer's thesis, inverse relationship between tax rate and tax collection. Higher the tax rate, lower the tax collection, lower the tax rate, higher the tax collection, tax buoyancy, more supply of tax revenue in the economy will be obtained. So aggregate demand is pointless. More focus should be on aggregate supply function. That's all. Thank you.